Hi, it's David Taylor, and welcome to episode number 3 of the Bold Entrepreneur Show. And today I was spending some time with Andy Brocklehurst, somebody I've known for a long time, but only now got the chance to actually talk to in any great depth. And we went for the best part of an hour, just discussing his tips for how to be most successful online, what to stay away from, the kind of habits you want to develop, and that kind of thing. Very interesting guy to speak to, and I think you'll really enjoy this episode. So sit back, grab a coffee. There's no video, so you can have it on in the background, or just I'll get a downloadable MP3. So there you go. Sit back and enjoy. Here's Andy. Hi everyone. Today I'm privileged to talk to a guy that I've known for a long time but never actually talked to, which is kind of weird, and is responsible for putting quite a bit of cash in my PayPal account, for which I appreciate it very much. So welcome, Andy Brocklehurst.
Hi, good to be here.
Good to have you with me. So this is episode 3. Thanks for appearing in that. And really, this is just a content one. We don't have a launch coming up or anything like that. So first question, as usual. What were you doing before the internet came along, and what brought you to where you are now?
All right. Well, before the internet came along, I was way back. I left school. I trained in a bit of computer programming, and then I hit a certain point. I guess I was about 17. Seems a long time ago now.
Yeah.
It dawned on me that I was potentially going to be sat in front of a computer all day, every day, and I didn't like the idea. So I stopped doing that, and I went off and worked just in retail for a while, but back in the days when retailing involved selling, and I got some very good basic sales training and all that kind of thing. And then a few years passed, and retailing took a dive. I was made redundant. They closed the store down I was working in. I went and did some other stuff for a while, but there was, and in the back of my mind, this computer thing had the interest in, but I'd been out of it. So I went and talked my way into a job in IT support, and did that for a while, which gave me my sort of background in customer service and support and technical stuff. And then, but in the back of my mind, I'd always wanted to do my own thing, because I come from a family where my parents ran businesses and things, so I always had that entrepreneurial thing going on. And I started to experiment. Now, I mean, while I was working in computers, before the internet, we had things like FidoNet and various bulletin board systems. You used to dial in with a modem, and they were all text-based. But I realized that there was a possibility for selling on those discussion boards, and I had written a piece of software that analysed horses in horse races, and it was only written for fun. There was a thing on one of the bulletin boards I was a member of, which was called Kicks. There was a group on there called Channel 4 Racing, and all it was that every Saturday we would forecast the results, and everyone would post, and then it would be the televised races, and then they'd add up who got what right, and there was a leaderboard. It was just all for fun, no money involved. And I thought I could write a piece of software that did the analysis I did, because I'd learnt this analysis from a little book called, I think it was called something like Racing Systems with a Pocket Calculator. But there was a lot of type this in, divide by this, add this. So I wrote a piece of software called the Horse Tipster, and I started. First of all, I used it in using the software. 2 runs of races in a row, I was the leaderboard champion. People were asking me how I did it, and I went, I do this software, and then I started selling it. And I started advertising it on the same boards and stuff. And so in those days, you had to get someone send you a check. You'd bank the check, and you'd send them a floppy disk. And if they wanted support, they'd have to phone you up or email you. So that was my very early step into internet marketing before it was the internet. And then when the internet came along in a bigger way, I saw the potential of it, but I didn't know quite what to do. And at the time, I was fascinated. At the time I was still living in the UK because I spent 4.5 years in the States, but I was still here. But I had friends in the States, and I would get them to videotape infomercials for me and send them because I was fascinated by the selling process.
Well, I love those.
Yeah. Now, I
absolutely.
used to get all of them. The juicer, the slicer. But the ones that really caught my eye was Don Lepre, who American viewers will probably know. I mean, sadly, no longer with us and a horrific end to his life. Yeah. But he was an infomercial king who marketed make money products and that kind of thing. And so I learned the sales process by watching these things, and I watched the repetition, and so that got me a bit more interested, and so my my venture into internet marketing was really way back in '99. I put up a blog. I wasn't really doing much selling. I put together. I was still selling my software, my horse software, and people were starting to ask me how I was selling it. And so I wrote a report about what I was doing, where I was selling it, where I was advertising it, how I was doing it. And then I sold that. And that led into a product, into another thing. So that was way back in the 90s, and I did that for a while, and I carried on, built it up, ended up doing that full time up until about 2004-05, I think it was. Maybe a bit before that, 2003. I went through a stinky divorce and pretty much jacked everything in. That I was, and then I went to help my parents with their bricks and mortar business for a while, which was a great experience and a great bit of time out. But if it taught me anything, it was that there are far easier ways to make money than with a bricks and mortar business where they were working every hour there was. And, they made a living and it was fine. And that's, to be honest, all I want to do online. I'm not looking to be Mr. Millionaire or whatever else. I'm just looking to have a good standard of life with a good income, and my online business support that and provide that so that I can take time out with the family and all those kind of things and work less hours and whatever. So, yeah, so that was what my goal is, and I'm very much of that. I guess that's why I like reading stuff like Tony Shepard, because he's a similar mindset.
Yeah,
it's not all about, it's like we want to make some good money. We want to make good money. I don't want to be, doing this and only scraping by. I don't want to be doing this and it just being a job. So, anyway, after a few years of doing the bricks and mortar thing, I was like, I got them to a point, I helped them, they got to a point where they could sell the business, which was great, but then it left me in a place where I was like, what the heck am I going to do now? Mm-hmm. And so I went back to my roots of programming. I looked around, I started looking at what was going on online. Internet marketing, it had changed a lot. Went back and looked at the Warrior Forum. That had changed a lot, but I looked at it. Various other groups and things. And I thought, you know what? I can write software that will solve some of the problems these guys are talking about. Mm-hmm. And so I just picked subjects like the QR codes was the big thing back then. So I wrote a QR code generator and then marketed that. But because I was starting out, and I promoted that with full rights and everything else just to really get a list built. Because I knew that old thing, the money's in the list. Cliche, but true. Mm-hmm. And I had no list. And then I came across this idea that rather than do what was traditionally being done, which was, here's a squeeze page, you put in your details, and then you get whatever it is you've bought, your piece of software you get for free, and then you install it. I did an experiment whereby I put out a piece of software that you could download without giving your email address, but in order to run the software, you had to put your email address in. Mm-hmm. And I split test it and found that the conversion rate was massively higher because at the point at which people downloaded it, they were committed. They installed it. It was just a hurdle. Oh, just got to register. And it was just pop in your email address and your name to register to get your free license key. So people would do that. That would get them onto a list. I mean, nothing shady about it. I told them they were going onto a list.
Yeah.
But I found the conversion rate on that was higher. And that's really... So then I put out more software like that and software with rights like that, and people were lapping it up, and I was getting a good reputation on the Warrior Forum for that. And then I thought, right, if I could put something together that would let people build these things for themselves, and that's how Software Product Magic, iCurator, and Easy Software Maker, 3 different software builders, but they all have that registration system as a core part of their functionality. And that was how they came about. So ways of enabling non-programmers, and really, because I was doing a lot of template stuff, here's an idea, and I found that a lot of software I was making followed a set formula.
Mm-hmm.
So I originally wrote Software Product Magic for me, because then I could just fill out the thing, generate it, it was done with the brander, with everything I needed. And then I thought, if this was tidied up and made a bit more user-friendly, because the early version that was just for me, was edit this text file, edit this thing, copy them into a folder, zip them up, put them in there, run a program. So anyway, I took all that out and made it user-friendly, and that's how they came about. So, I mean, that's really my start, very, very cut-down version of where I came from and where I ended up. And now I'm still doing software. I also do some training stuff. I have some coaching clients, but all born out of just teaching what I do, because people would see what I do and would ask me and go, well, how are you doing that? And how are you? So I put together, I've done a few training things, and I love testing. Yeah. I love testing, tweaking. What would happen if I did this? What would happen if I did this? And I love doing those little tests, and then you hit on something that works, and you go, wow, can I scale that up? And then you try, and you find you can. And then because you've discovered that with your twist on it, you've then automatically got another product, because you can tell other people how you did it.
Yeah.
Case studies and so on. So, yeah. So this is now what I do all the time. I just...
Yeah. Tinker, test, and tweak. The thing that I loved from your story, the horse betting software, you said it involved all these calculations, and I took that and automated it, and that's the kind of thing that you can do with your products at the moment. If you see something that's a process, and you think, could that be automated somehow? Could that be made into something that would help people save a bit of time, like putting up a squeeze page? You don't have to go and tinker with HTML code. Right. I've done that a couple of times with products. I've even done it for example, when I saw somebody had released a product that involved a squeeze page template, and their instructions said, go into the HTML, find this line, edit that line, then you need to go into Aweber and you need to get this wee bit, you put it into that wee line in the code, press save. And I thought, geez, if there was a beginner looking at that whole page of HTML would look like a nightmare. So I got Software Product Magic, and I made him a software and sold it to him for $300.
There you go. I think people do glaze over when they see... They download a script and they open up the readme.txt file, and the first thing it says is, open config.php in your favourite editor. Now go and do this and upload these files. And I thought, anything you can do to simplify those processes. And I've done loads of Software Product Magic things that really, at their heart, are just configurators for free or freely available under Creative Commons licensing scripts, and I just take them, and all I've done is written a thing that fills out the little config file. Yeah. And then they can upload it. That's all it does. But that in itself makes it immediately a product that people will pay money for. It's easy. It's going to work out the box. Yeah. Making money online isn't difficult. Find something people struggle with, give them a solution. Find something that's tricky, make it easier. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of your other products, which the cleaned up title was, be a 5%er.
Yes.
What's a 5%er?
Okay, well, there are... in internet marketing, you've only got to go and hang out on some forums for a little while, and you soon see that there are a large number of people on there who want to be internet marketers, but they have fallen into the trap of sitting on the wrong side of the table. So they've become consumers. They just sit there and they buy everything, every new thing, buy this, buy that. But without too much thought, they probably try it for 2 minutes and dump it. And the whole idea of that report was to say, there's a better way of going. Rather than... and don't get me wrong, in a business you have to invest in tools, but you need to invest in the right tools to get the job done. Buying every WSO that comes out and not sticking with any one thing is what's costing most people the dream. Mm-hmm. It's find your one thing, stick to it for a while. Now, eventually, you'll get that to a stage where that's doing nicely on its own, and then you can experiment, which is what I'm having the freedom of doing now. Mm-hmm. I've got a certain amount of my business is evergreen, so it just sits and runs itself. I just, fire out a solo ad or go and place an advert on Bing Ads or whatever it is I'm doing, and let the traffic go to it, and I know that traffic will convert and will put money in the bank, and so that's automatic evergreen stuff. And that means I can then experiment with all these other things. So if, for example, and I have no interest in Teespring, but I'll use it as an example, Teespring products popped up recently on various forums. If I was interested, I could now grab one of them, learn how to do Teespring, might see if I can automate it a bit or outsource it or whatever, and that may become another income stream. But what most people are doing is that they will go, oh, Teespring product, yeah. Oh, that's a bit harder than I thought. Oh, thing on flipping. Oh, yes. Oh, that's a bit harder than I thought. Oh, a thing on solo ads and building your list. Yeah, oh, that's a bit complicated. Oh, no, that involves money. And really, the Be a 5%er was fundamentally about, number one, move to the correct side of the table. Move to the table where you're the one providing solutions, because there's a hungry market out there that will buy them. Mm-hmm. Secondly, learn to really focus on that one thing, build it, and then do your other things and have your multiple strings. But don't fall into the trap of very lizard-like brain, sort of, I'll try this and I'll dabble with that and I'll try this. And, the forums are full of guys that are always sat there going, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to try this. And they probably don't try it long enough. And I think a lot of stuff in internet marketing or in any business there's a certain amount of inertia to it. If you're giving a car a push start, the initial push is really hard. And then it gets easier and easier and it builds momentum and then it's rolling, even on a flat surface. Most people, I think, do the initial thing and then they stop because it's hard. As if they just went another 2 or 3 steps, they'd be rolling, And so very much it was about changing people's mindsets, not falling for the cack that's out there.
Yeah. Because it had a previous title, didn't it?
It did, yes. It did. It initially came out because it was initially written in anger.
I saw
that. January 2014, I sat down, a couple of days after the New Year, and I was chatting to people actually in a Skype group and a few other things, and I thought, I've been talking to these people for 2 years, and an awful lot of them are still not getting anywhere. They're still... I'm going to do a launch, I'm going to do this, and you can talk about the things you're going to do, but unless you actually do them, and most of them as well, I was seeing a pattern. Like, someone would get to a certain... They'd make a product, they get, like, it all ready to go, they do half the sales page, they'd get a JV page sort of half done, and they were so close. They might get it all done, they just need to push the button, and then they go, a thing on site flipping. And they'd be off on some, and they'd forget about that. And then by the time they came back, they'd forgotten where it was at. And, and I was just, it's ridiculous. If you just, that inertia thing again, if you just pushed a bit more, got it over the edge. And it was also about that for the 95% of people out there, I think in one form or another, fear holds them back. And it was about breaking that down and just going, what honestly is the worst that could happen. And I've been doing this a long time. I've made some horrendous mistakes. I don't get stuff right all the time now. I screw up. It happens. I've done products I'm not overly proud of in my time. But you learn. It's a learning process, and you go on. And nothing you ever do is, unless you're a complete arse, it's nothing you're going to do is irreversible or whatever. So, and that was really what a 5%er. It was getting them to move around to the side of the table where they're providing solutions. Yeah, and that was mainly what its thrust was. And it's as a product, it's been doing very well. I've had a lot of people contact me saying, thanks for putting that out, because it was very blunt, it was very honest, it was to the point. One or two, but it's funny because you get people that get it and you go, you just didn't get it. I had one guy wrote to me and he said, I got your report and I went through it, but really it's just stuff that I already knew. So it's of no use to me. I want a refund. So I just went, fine, there's your refund. It's not a big deal, But he completely missed the point, because he's one of those 95% that's seen all it before but hasn't done it.
Yeah. And
he's still missing the point, even when someone gives it to him that straight and that direct.
Yeah.
And, so you can't help all the people. There's something, it's frustrating. I'd like to be able to help everyone. I wish everyone that bought Software Product Magic actually used it, because I know when you use it, you make money with it. And we've seen that. I see we've got a Skype group, as you know, because you're in there, of people with iCurator, Software Product Magic things. In that group, I don't know how many members there are, because it's not everyone that's ever bought it. 101, there you go. It's not everyone that's ever bought it. It's those people that wanted to join the group, and we made an invite, and we've had some come and left and whatever. But so currently 101 people. Even out of the 101 that are in there, probably only 15% are actively putting products out.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, that's a shame, because they've got the tools. It's like saying I'm going to become a plumber, going out and buying the tools and going on the training course, and then not ever advertising.
Yeah.
So.
I've been the same. I've had two main products, I think, with iCurator, and done a couple with Software Product Magic. I'm still able to sell that product. I just haven't done an awful lot of new ones, and my fault. I've got other things on my mind at the moment.
But the thing is that, it is hard for people, and I fully understand that. We got someone in the group, I won't mention any names, but you'll know who I'm talking about, but there's someone in the group who has had iCurator for a long time and has now finally started actively using it. And they've been doing at least a launch a month, sometimes one every 2 weeks, sometimes one a week. Mm-hmm. Because basically they wanted some advice, and a couple of people in the group, myself, chipped in and went, okay, here's what to do. Just make a product using iCurator, release it. The first one you release, you might only sell 5, doesn't matter. Week 2 or 2 weeks down the road, put out another one. You've now got your initial customer base, and this is like a Sean Mize type idea.
Yeah.
People look at Sean and they go, wow, this guy can sell hundreds of thousands on Warrior Forum. What you need to do is look at, and Sean's put all this stuff out, and there is a PDF somewhere. You can probably get it with complete rights on a resale site. But in the document, he talked about how he did his WSOs. But the real thing for me in that wasn't so much everything he wrote, it was the screenshots he gave that told a story. Because when you're viewing as an affiliate or vendor, you can look at other people's launches and you get an idea, because it will say 10 plus, 25 plus, 100 plus, 250 plus, and so on. So when it says 250 plus, they've sold between 250 and 500 copies. Yeah. Because the next step will be 500 plus. But it's really useful when you can see the actual figures. And he had screenshots. And his first WSOs sold 10 or 12 copies. And what would most people have done? Well, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
What does Sean do? Puts out another one and another one and does one a week for 2 or 3 months. Again, doing that one thing, finding that inertia point, which seems to be a running theme of this conversation now. So we talk about inertia. That found that inertia point, it started rolling, then banging them out, and what's he end up doing? Building a huge list of internet marketers. When he promotes a product as an affiliate, he'll probably bank several thousand, if not tens of thousands. And he built it all up from just going, I'm going to do one thing and stick at it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go beyond that, or it doesn't work, and I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm going to make it work. Because if other people can do it, so can I. And it's that kind of, I mean, you could don't pick something ridiculous and go, I'm going to stick at it till it works. If it's something no one can make work, it's not going to happen. But if you take something like running WSOs, and even now, I know, internet marketers are sort of all doing launches off the Warrior Form now, but the Warrior Form is still a tremendous place to pick up customers and clients, and it has new people coming on it all the time who are hungry, who want to get into internet marketing. If you can come up with a bit of software that does something that makes their life easier, or you can give them a bit of advice, a report, whatever it is, that's a great market. And Barry Rogers and I got together and did that 1K Whirlwind, which is all about putting free products on there.
Yeah,
building lists, and those people that actually did it ended up with good lists, which they've then converted into buyers and ongoing things. It's not hard. You've just got to stick at it long enough, and that long enough point is probably 2 steps more than you think it is, or than most people's threshold is.
Yeah, it's the whole stop 2 feet from gold story, isn't it? Just keep it going. That was one of the questions I had to ask you, because I kind of knew what the answer was, because, well, you just talked about it. If you needed an extra $1,000 within the next couple of weeks, what would you do? And you didn't have your list.
Okay. I would, I'll answer it in a couple of different ways, because I've obviously got a lot of tools and things, and assuming I had them, I could write software, and even if I wasn't a programmer, I've got software, product magic, I've got iCode, all those things. Great. Okay, let's say I don't have them. Let's get it right down. I'm sat here, and we'll assume I've got a few dollars to play with, because with any business you've got to have some investment.
Yeah.
I would do one of a couple of things. One is I would head to the forums and I would find out what questions are getting asked a lot, and I would then go and find the answers out from people that knew if I didn't know, and I would write that up, and I would put that out. And I think I would probably put it out super cheap and not try and make the $1,000 on that, but get the list that I can then roll promotions out to, and then certainly within a month I could easily pull in, but product ideas and things are everywhere. There's so many. I mean, for example, I was talking to someone the other day on Skype, and he was going, we were just bouncing ideas around. I said, you know what? There's what's been sold loads at the moment is people have been selling photograph packs, where you can get all these images that you can have rights to use on your website, on your blogs, do whatever you like with. And they're popular because when you go to Image Stock and iStock Photo and stuff, they want a lot of money for an image. And we were talking, he went, yeah, image packs are great, but you've got to go out with a camera and take the pictures. And I went, actually, thinking about it, no, you don't. Because if you find images that are free under the Creative Commons CC0 licensing, that means you can use them commercially without any attribution. You can give them away. You can do anything. I bet if I was to jump on the internet now, and I haven't tried it, but I bet within an hour I could probably have a few hundred images, high definition, that I have got the rights to do anything I want with, and I could get them all for free. Put them into a pack, screenshot of the thumbnails, Warrior Forum, hey everyone, I've put together this pack of images that you can use on your websites and in your blogs and your whatever, and you can have it for $7, and then the upsell, I could give them PLR rights, because hey, I can do what I like with them. I mean, there's a product from nothing.
Yeah. Good
and
tip
it's
there,
just
folks.
doing it. Well, there you go. There you go. Someone do it. Because if you don't, I'll do it. I mean, someone will do it.
Yeah. I mean, you upselled one of your products with a pack of royalty-free backgrounds. Using your one clip. And was that how you found them?
Yeah. Well, actually, those images, they came from. And I think those images I actually bought the rights from someone else to, and then I added a few extra ones from a couple of CC0 things. Just went and found because I wanted nice looking images, so things like backgrounds with a sunset or a beach scene or a road going into the horizon, that kind of picture. So I basically got a collection of them, and you didn't need many. I can't remember how many I put. Was it 200? I think in the end in the big pack. Yeah. I think I gave them 20 for free, and then they could upgrade to the pack with 200 with a little tick box. Yeah. And it was a one-click upsell. And a big percentage of buyers ticked that box and went, for $10 more, I'll have the images.
Simplest sales copy ever.
Exactly. One line. One line. Yeah, exactly.
No upsell page. Fantastic.
Yeah. But those same images, you could take them and just sell them as they are for $10, $15, $20, whatever. It's there's so much stuff out there. People. But the thing with iCurator, originally iCurator was going to be a menu system for software product magic. That was why I wrote it. And then I thought, wow, actually, there's curated content, which, in other words, people want information, but they're too lazy to go and look for it themselves. So you do the research, and that's what they're paying you for. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I built in the things in it to do YouTube videos and this sort of thing. So now you could go out and look up a bunch of things, find the 10 best videos. Well, I'll give you a real example that a customer of mine did. He went onto YouTube and found 10 Seth Godin videos, and because his videos are brilliant. I mean, you ever stuck for something to do, pop up YouTube, Seth Godin, just sit there, set that on play in the background while you do other stuff. It will inspire you. Mm. He just found 10 really good ones and put out a product together that was like 10 super inspirational talks by Seth Godin, and did it as like a freebie thing, giveaway. I can't remember what upsell he did, but that was all it was, curated content. Mm-hmm. Now, how hard is it really to go to YouTube and type in Seth Godin? Not hard. But then what was different, he went through and he went, well, that's not so good, that one is, and just kind of categorised them a bit. And in doing that work, added value, had a product. It's, you know.
That's the thing I've noticed about YouTube. I mean, obviously, people that put their stuff on YouTube, they're allowing it to be put out in public. And you can do that, you can put it on your iCurator stuff. But I did notice that some people had perhaps put up videos they maybe weren't allowed to. So I thought, if I get somebody that's not the official channel of, say, like I wanted a Tony Robbins video or something, and you get some John Smith that has copied a Tony Robbins video and put it up, I would be a wee bit nervous about that.
Yeah, no. What you do is you can look on Seth Godin as an example, and you can just with anyone look at his official channel, and also look. He's done interviews with other people for their official channels. Yeah, and they're able to be shared because it's them doing the interview. So you've got to use a little bit of common sense, because there is some stuff on YouTube that's clearly illegal. That YouTube just haven't got around to pulling yet or whatever. And so you don't want to be linking to that, because the chances are sooner or later it'll get pulled anyway, and then you've got a product out there with a duff link in it. So
that's just a wee kind of tip that I came up with myself, and I thought it's got to be the official channel, because I looked at some. I had got I built some iCurators to do with various different subjects where I had a PLR report, and I thought, let's get some videos to go with that report. And whether it was dog training or whatever else, I thought I want to make sure that the person in the video owns the rights to the video. Or I could find myself in a bit of maybe I didn't get in trouble myself because it's just a YouTube video. The person putting it up would, but then the video would vanish. Yeah, and I want to make sure that I have the rights to put the video into my iCurator, so it's got to be an official YouTube. Because they do say that, when you're uploading a video, have you got commercial rights to this video? Are you sure? And if you don't, it's going to come down, and all of a sudden your product's going to go.
The other approach you can always take if you want to be safe. I mean, join a resale rights weekly, any of the PLR sites. There are private label rights videos out there. Got some very good content in them. Now, a lot of them will say something like, you can't make it freely available on YouTube. But we don't make it freely available. If you put it on your YouTube thing as unlisted so no one knows it's there, and then link to them from within your iCurator product which you are selling or giving away or whatever within the terms of their license, then there's not a problem. And you can, that way, the videos are never going to vanish because they're on your own channel. Yeah. And so you can put together and it's a nice way of repackaging, because most people would go, I'm going to sell those videos. I'll just sell them as they are package them up. Then you can advertise it as, hey, get my piece of software. And if you wanted to do it free, you could put the registration code thing in there. So they download it, they got to register to get their free code, they do that, they're on your list. Then you can promote, and you know what they're interested in, because they've just downloaded how to do micro-continuity training package. So now you know what else to promote to them.
Yeah. And plus
so
you've got
a targeted
the
list
of the brander, which was a wee add-on, of course, that's to the Accurator, but you can allow them, you can give them PLR. I love that about, how you can make software, because you think, well, software, I've got no chance of that, and there are things that can, beginners can make software so easily now, thanks to you and others like you have made compilers. I mean, that's I've sold a lot of software, not a huge amount like yourself, but I mean I've made enough to be happy with it at the moment when I sell more. But I had to learn a bit about it, especially with the kind of the harder ones. But your ones are incredibly easy. It's just a case of design, really, and then put it all together.
The hardest thing is probably having the idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, on Software Product Magic, I've done training videos that I don't think people ever watch that show how I get the ideas. They show it's not exciting. It's I go on Google and then I go here and then I go here and then suddenly something sparks and it rolls into an idea.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about that, like I say, with the brander, my favourite trick is you put something together, you compile it all up, so you've then got the product and the brander there. And now I sell the product. My first upsell is you can have resale rights, and my second upsell is you can have brandable private label rights. So by clicking one compile button, I've got a complete sales funnel, not just one.
I love that about it, and you do that with all of your software compilers. But it's the ability to sell PLR to your own software is quite a boost.
Software still has a far higher perceived value.
Yeah.
Even now, I mean, I thought that time would sort of slowly phase out, but it doesn't seem to be. People still, because software is mystical almost. Yeah. When you get software, most computer users are convinced they couldn't make software.
Yeah.
Because they don't know about the tools like Software Product Magic and things that would enable someone who knows nothing about programming to make software. So when that's going out there, people are going, oh, it's software. And because of that, it just is on a higher plane, and it stayed there, and it's still there now. Yeah. And that's why. The other thing is, with software, the beauty of selling software on as a beginner, when you first come into internet marketing, you might go, well, my problem is I don't have anything to teach because I'm a newbie. Yeah. So I can't say this is how you do something. No, but if you've got a proven template for a squeeze page, even if that was someone else's invention, as long as you can get the rights to it, so Resale Rights Weekly again, something like that, you can find, there's a good template. Now you write software to configure that template, and now what you're offering people is a solution. This thing will build the page for you, and you're selling it off the back of established belief. People believe that these squeeze pages work already, so you don't have to sell that. Yeah. You just have to sell my software makes it quicker and easier and gets it deployed faster. Yeah. So you're not having to make any income claims. You're not nothing like that. So it's an easier sell.
My that one technique I spoke about earlier, paid for. So no, I didn't quite pay for it, but we paid for one of your software compilers, even though I was using the other. And that was it. Just looking for products that had just come out that involve templates. And, I basically, it was so easy to just write the template and go and show the guy. Do you want it? Full rights, and I'll support it if need be. and got quite a good payout for that. So that was really good. So yeah, just go and see what needs done, and you can use these kind of things. Yeah, so that's kind of ideas for products, and they've been. It's been always interesting to see what kind of ideas you have, and you go, seems so simple, but there you go. That's the whole point. As you always say, simple software sells. Back to my wee questions list.
Go on,
one of your biggest mistakes. What did you learn from it? That's a tough one.
It is because I've made a lot of mistakes.
People always like to hear of goofs.
The thing is with mistakes, when you can normally turn them around. I mean, I've made horrendous mistakes with support things and stuff like that. But when you go and put it right with a person and go that extra mile, then suddenly they're singing your praises. And it was actually, I remember doing one of my earliest launches, and I think I got complacent. I'd done my first two where I was right on the edge of my seat, absolutely, and I got a little bit. Oh, this is easy. I've got this formula down, and put the thing up, put it together, no problem. Hit the launch button, go and have a beer. That's when I can't drink anymore because I'm on blood pressure meds. But anyway, went off, had my beers, came back to my computer. The launch was going great as far as sales went. Hundreds of sales. Not one of them had been delivered.
Oh.
So now I'm in a position where the thread, because it was Warrior Forum, is blowing up. Everyone that's bought it hasn't got it, whatever. I've only been away maybe an hour and a half, sat, had a beer, chatted with the missus, watched a bit of TV. But, even that, so, I learned from it, well, when you do a launch, you want to sit around for the first hour.
Yeah.
But what the thing was, the biggest thing I learned from that was that as bad as that seemed, because that's like what most people, when you talk to them, what their biggest fear is. What if it all goes wrong? Well, you know what? That went wrong. It was in my early days. I thought, my reputation, oh no. But in reality, jump on the thread, go, guys, I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, I'm on it. I went through, I had a licensing, I created 100 licenses manually, and then a few more besides. I emailed every one of those people personally. They didn't get an automated copy, but I wrote everyone an email with here's a link, here's this, is that, and a free bonus to make up for the problem. What happened? I had 100 people on the thread shouting about how amazing I was.
Yeah.
And so you turn it round. So that was a big mistake, but and what I learned from it, you can turn it round and you can get out of just about anything. So even if things, it's better to have done it and have things go wrong and learn from it than not to do it because you're afraid it'll go wrong.
Yeah. Oh well, that's inspiring. So what had you done? Just not linked up the payment button with a license?
I had some PHP script back then doing the licensing thing, and for whatever reason in my tests it had worked, but when it went live there was something to do with IPNs and just a technical thing. But what I should have done, make that test purchase before I hit the launch button. I'd done launches before using the same system. They worked perfectly. Got complacent. Hit the button and then got so cocky I went and had a beer.
Well, that's the lesson in itself, isn't it? Stick around. Yeah. Answer your questions. No, that's very good for people to know. We're getting up to, I suppose, time we should be wrapping. But one other thing I was going to say was, suppose somebody's just started, they're a brand new beginner, and they've come, and this is the first thing in internet marketing that they've seen this interview. What would you like to say to them?
Take on board what we said about inertia, because I seriously think that is where so many people trip up. Focus on one thing because it's working for other people, so therefore if it's working for them you can make it work yourself. But when you first start out and you don't have that list, you're not going to launch a WSO and make 1,000 sales. You might launch one and make 7 sales, and you might think, what the hell's the point? But if you keep going, that inertia thing, and that I think is really critical. And as we've talked today, it's just put it in mind. I'm probably going to go write a report on inertia or something. I mean, a lot of it is covered in that 5% report, but that inertia thing. Do something, stick at it, and get yourself over the point that it becomes easier to push it, and you'll see the results. If you quit too early, just stick around a bit, and it will work. I think that's why we got this horrendous 95% of people that get into internet marketing fail. The thing, it's just what it really is. I think is that 95% of people don't stick at it quite long enough.
Yeah, I'm buying stuff. That means I'm working. It'll work eventually. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you've got to buy some stuff, I think, and I mean, if you want to invest in WSOs or special offer or whatever's been launched, and don't get into this thing of buying everything that launches. You don't need every WordPress theme and every whatever. Think about what you need. Do you need a way of doing sales pages? Find one good solution and buy it, like Insta Builder, fantastic solution. You need a membership solution, Insta Member, because that's both. You need a squeeze page thing. There are tools out there to do it. You don't need 7 different tools to do that job. I mean, okay, I own 2 or 3 because I mean, page builders. I use Thrive, I use Profits Builder, and I use Insta Builder.
Yeah.
But they are the only 3 things I use now. But I could have had just one. I have 3 because they make different style pages.
Yeah.
When you start, it doesn't matter.
No. Then you've got a choice to make between 3. I need to build a page now. What am I going to use? And there's a bit of time that you don't.
The thing is, I've taken the time to learn every one of them, and I know them inside out. Most people who bought 3 would dabble with one, not like it, move on to the next. I've got it, mastered it, and then I've seen a page built with something else and gone, I really like that, and I can't do it with this, so I've bought that and I've learned that. So now I've got, so that's where that comes in. But if you want to buy products, how-to products, and that kind of thing, and you're starting out, 2 bits of advice. One is go to Amazon and buy some books. The book that taught me sales copy cost $10 or £10, something like that, on Amazon. It's called The Copywriter's Handbook by Robert Bly. Now, don't get me wrong, I've spent hundreds learning copywriting since and improving my skill, but that got me started and got me good enough to put sales letters out that converted. So that's a good source. The other thing is case studies are golden, in my opinion. You can pick up a case study for $7 and it's exactly how someone has done something and the results they've got and the pitfalls usually. And it's normally in a PDF. It's normally 20-30 pages, so you can read it in a short amount of time. You can cherry pick out stuff you want to do, or you can just go and do it. It's so those things are very good. That's my favorite type of product. I do buy a lot of case studies. But that's just educating myself, because in learning that I get to those things in other places. So,
well, that's one of the things I had planned to ask you, but now you've mentioned it, might as well just say is what's the best way to keep up with developments in the industry? I mean, it's progressed so far, even in the last couple of years. How do we know where it's going? It's
an interesting industry at the moment because it's going through another stage of change. I think we went for a stage where everyone did Warrior Forum, and not so many people are now, although I'm still loving it. Now there's this whole launch mentality and big JV things and launch groups and whatever, and it's interesting because it's now getting a stage where, because everyone's been told the way to make money is to do a launch. There's now a lot of substandard launches been. You go and look at the launch list. Go back 18 months, you go and look on Muncheye, and there were half a dozen launches for a month. Now go on there, and there's like half a dozen a day, a dozen a day at times. And it's becoming saturated to some degree. It's getting to but that just means that it's got to move on and go to the next stage. So, case studies are good. Also, go back to basics. At the end of the day, what will keep putting money in your bank day in, day out is having stuff that is evergreen. Yeah. So launches are good to build a list. Launches are good to give you a cash surge at times and that kind of thing. But then most people, I hate these launches you see, that they launch it and they go, it's only available for a month or 2 weeks, and they close it. And you can't know, it's not ever available for ages after that. And you think, why?
Yeah.
surely do a special launch, yes, close it down, yes, for a week or two, then put it out at full price on an evergreen thing, give your affiliates the right tools for the job, and just keep it rolling. It makes fun. If the product's that good, people want to buy it. I mean, the truth is, the ones that vanished, maybe the product wasn't good enough to be evergreen.
I've got products out there, as I'm sure you have, that you get sales and you don't know where they're coming from. But I like it.
I do. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And find people that teach that resonate with you. I can sit here and go, buy my stuff. I've got reports on how to do this and that. I might not be the right person for you. If you've, as you know, especially with the first version of 5%, which was called something else, that I didn't, in the first one, it didn't hold back at all. And there was even language in there I wouldn't normally use in a report, but
no,
it was because it was written in anger, and it did the job.
A few beers.
Yeah, but it was good for the time. The version that's being sold now has been lighted up a bit.
Yeah.
We took out the F-bombs and things like that, but I think it still uses SH something a couple of times.
This was an original title, of course.
But the thing is, that is right for some people. It's not right for everyone. So I'm not going to reach everybody. But I put my stuff out there. If my stuff doesn't work for you, or doesn't inspire you, the training stuff, find someone who does. I love Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson stuff. There's a book that everyone should have. .com Secrets. That's somebody that really resonates with me, and I can understand what he's saying, and I've got a lot of his training. You can't see them up on my wall. I have charts of the perfect webinar one is right up in front of me. Whenever I do a webinar, I follow that plan. So you find the people that resonate with you. Tony Shepard, mentioned earlier, does with me, because he is of the mindset of he wants to make a living. He's not necessarily looking to be Mr. Billionaire or whatever. Find the people that resonate with you and inspire you, and follow them. And keep abreast that way, because it's impossible to try and follow someone that you're not liking and that you don't like their style.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You talked there about the basics. I had put out a blog post quite a while back. We both are interested in magic. You've got all this lovely stuff in your bag. All I've got is a wee pack of cards you can see in the back corner, but I don't have it all kind of set up like yours. Yeah, I've got mine over there. Anyway, you can just see it.
5 decks on my desk.
But my observation was how much magic was like internet marketing. I had a mentor that I just told you about. Worked or still does work in a wee shop in Glasgow, and every week I'd go in, his case would have a whole lot of new shiny objects. Sound familiar? And you'd be looking at, and there would be silly plastic things that you can use for to show a wee effect to your kids, and see, if you wanted to, you could spend a fortune in there. But what he told me early on was, see all this, forget it. See that book there by Di Vernon? Get it, study it, right? And Di Vernon, he's kind of originated a lot of the magical effects that, for people that don't know magic. He's kind of the old school. Look at the classics first. Look at the basics. Learn how to do a few card tricks, and that so that if somebody says it shows a trick, you don't need to go, well, I don't have my prop. You can even just borrow a deck. Learn the basics first, and then you can start to look at what else you might have. And I think it's the same with an online business. If you learn the basics and get good at the basics, then you can look at Teespring and whatever else.
Right.
Because the basics will take you through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The thing is, the basics are boring. They're not glitzy and glamorous, and that's what deters people, I think. If you say to someone comes along, I'm getting into internet marketing, what do I need to do? And I say to them, well, go get some basic training on copywriting. That's actually quite dull.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's copywriting that sells everything. Every email I write is copywriting. Every sales page, pitch page, squeeze page, everything. It's all copy. Even a video presentation if I'm sat there, that is me reciting what is effectively sales copy.
Yeah.
You learn that process, and it's nice and basic. So you can go right back to the basics of that, of attention, interest, desire, action, the old AIDA formula. And so that's why I say things like Copywriter's Handbook on Amazon. I mean, that Robert Bly book I bought donkeys years ago, and I still refer to today.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
it translates well to the web. It's all the same.
Yeah, it translates enough. The core concepts do. I mean, obviously, I've some other great books on copywriting that come from donkeys years ago, and they're talking about direct mail. But the principles of how you hook someone's attention and those sorts of things are the same, and you just have to modernise it. So instead of having a coupon at the bottom they're going to clip out and fill in and send off with their check or your phone number, they're going to click an order button instead on your page.
Yeah.
So it's learn the basics.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm just having a look at the clock, and we're
oh well, there you go.
My goodness, the time flies fast.
It
I'm
does.
just trying to think of people I'm hoping people will watch this, because there's some cracking information coming out. Anything else you want to add before we finish? Anything think we've left out?
No, I think that's it. I think the takeaways are learn the basics and inertia.
Yeah, learn the basics and inertia. Perfect. Well, thanks very much, and
Thank you.
As we mentioned, we may put a link or two to the products that we mentioned if anybody wants to explore them further. But we'll talk about that after and see what we can come up with. But I really appreciate your time, and I also appreciate anybody's time who's managed to get this far in the video. I hope you got an awful lot out of it. I certainly have. And thanks again. Alright, bye for now then.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.